evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I am Earl Holland, back with another Sports Refuge Podcast, NFL playoff preview live stream. And of course, we're doing all these interviews to put together in a big episode that's coming out January 6th, the Wednesday before Wild Card Weekend. And we know this year, a bigger field, 14 teams instead of the usual 12. And one of the teams vying for a playoff spot right now are the Las Vegas Raiders. And it's so weird to say that. I was going to say Oakland, and even when I started saying Los Angeles was going to be the next word after that. But the person here to represent the Raiders, whatever city, doesn't matter. They are always the silver and black. It is Kenny Brown, someone I went to school with at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Of course, you met some of his friends before, Linwood Outlaw and Andre Watson in previous episodes of this podcast. But I want to say thank you for coming on the podcast, Kenny. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know things are getting crazy, especially around the holidays.
Thank you. I appreciate. Thanks for having me, Earl. I appreciate doing this for you, man.
Oh yeah, no problem. You were one of the first people I thought in mind when it came to the Raiders, and I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts and opinions on it, especially this first year in Las Vegas.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely exciting. To hear them going to Vegas. I've never been to Vegas, so I know the first game that I definitely, when I plan that trip, will be for me going to Vegas. So that's going to make everything out of that trip for me.
So what led to your interest, led to you being a Raiders fan?
So being here in the Washington, D.C. area, metropolitan area, my pops was stationed out on the West Coast in California, San Diego. And San Diego is really not a chart, is really Raider country. So during this time out there in the Navy, he had that mystique, in the 80s and everything like that. And when he got stationed over to Norfolk is when he brought that whole Raider mystique. So that was his team. And, when you were a little kid, far as back as I can remember, it's 1990. I'm 7 years old. And, I'm supporting the team that my pop supported. You know what I'm saying? So ever since then, I fell in love with the Raiders. And been a fan ever since. So we're going, over 30 years?
And that's the toughest thing. You never find people, especially our age, saying, I've been a fan of this team for 30 years, especially as a kid. You like seeing what's cool, and it's easy to jump on a bandwagon of somewhere else. I always tell people I've been a struggling Orioles fan for years and struggling, fan, Washington football team fan, depending on what you want to call it, for years. And I think the biggest thing is the longer you stick with them, when they have their biggest successes, it's the sweetest moment you can ever have.
Yeah, definitely, man.
So in your memory, what is the most memorable experience you have as a Raiders fan? Was there a particular game? I know there's so many different games, both good and bad, that as a Raiders fan or as a fan of any team that you can remember. But what is the biggest memorable moment that sticks out to you?
I would say probably before 2016, I would say the year we went to the Super Bowl. I never seen my team actually compete in the Super Bowl. So that season was pretty much memorable. But if I could think of a memorable moment, I'm a guy who I go to places. I plan trips and around the Raiders schedule, so I'll go on a road game. In this particular time, it was the New Orleans Saints in 2016. It was actually my sister's birthday weekend, and it was the NFL season opener. And that game was we had so much ups and downs, mixed emotions, and everything. And I just remember the way we won the game was so dramatic that when they kicked the field goal, it was basically Derek Carr and the Raiders came back. We was down by a big deficit in the second half, and they came back, mounted a whole comeback. And when we scored a touchdown in the fourth quarter, we went for two, and it was either you go for two and we connect and basically go up by, I think we went up by like 2 or 3 points, we go up by 1 point. And when we went for a 2-point conversion, we won. And basically what happened was I'm sorry, I got people in the background. But what happened was they drove us down the field and they got into the red zone. And I'm sitting here like, I'm like my sister, I'm like, yo, we about to lose on your birthday because we in the red zone. The guy kicks the field goal and miss it. and it was this big Raider dude behind me the whole game. He was a big, strong Raider dude, and I turned around to dap him up, and he crying like. So it was just so many funny things happened through that moment. But I never went through emote. That was the best Raiders game I've ever been to in my entire life.
What were your expectations coming into the season? And we also got a comment from Linwood saying, "Go Ravens, good stuff, fellas."
What's up, Linwood?
And as we wait for his response, to you, what were your expectations coming to this season? First year in Las Vegas, Gruden getting another year back under his belt as a head coach, especially after being out for a few years. What were your hopes for this season? What were you thinking?
I was hoping for a wild card appearance. I really was. I really the way they came out against the Saints, again, the way we came out and beat the Saints again in the season opener. I felt as though we could win at least 10 games. And I felt the way Derek Carr looked comfortable. He looked more comfortable than last year, and I felt like I expected us to at least go get a wild card position.
Was there a point in the season that you felt that this was a lock? Playoffs was going to be a guarantee?
Nah, not after. We still got we still have to address. I knew coming into the season we had to address. Our defense was young, and they're coming in the first year. It's going to take them a couple years to learn the scheme. And any playoff team does have to have some type of strong presence on the defensive side of the ball. And I knew that was our Achilles heel all season.
Was there a point that you felt that, especially with the success they were having, that this might be a mirage, that we might get close, but we might not make it?
Yeah. When we were 6-3, we were 6-3 last year, and this year we were 6-3. And when we lost that game, I forgot what team it was that we lost to. I've seen every game, but the team that we lost to, I'm like, oh, here we go again. And then the next week we lose again, and I'm like, okay, well, and then we had that game against the Jets and everything like that. So it looks like it was the same thing that was happening last season happening this season over again. So, and then the luck, with the COVID, that's really been killing my team. The COVID, like a lot of starters been out on both sides of the ball, which hurts the chemistry with the team and things like that going into week in and week out in preparation for the upcoming games.
And I think especially you look at the situation with the Broncos where they basically had to put a wide receiver at quarterback just because of what was going on there. I mean, it always could be worse when you look at it in that situation where no one capable to start. But I mean, again, it's easy to say that, especially in this weird time where everybody's getting hampered in sports. In the situation, the Raiders making the playoffs, who do you think they best match up well with in the AFC playoffs?
That's a tough question. Definitely don't want to play the hot Browns. I think the team that we probably I would like to. I probably would like to. I really believe we were built to beat the Chiefs. In both games, I really believe if we wasn't injured or things like that, people going in and out of the lineup and things like that, and whatever happened with our defensive coordinator and our defense and stuff like that, I really feel like we're the only team this season that beat the Chiefs, and we almost beat them twice. And I think that they don't want to see us. I really believe we're built to beat the Chiefs. I think matchup wise, we can score with them. We can we can do anything. We got weapons on with Waller. We got Hunter Renfrow, the new kid, the rookie, Henry Ruggs, who could stretch the field. On the defensive side of the ball, I think we're just as weak as the Chiefs don't really have a good, strong defense. So I just think it's just a matter of going touchdown for touchdown with Patrick Mahomes and them. And I think we can keep up with them.
who's the team you don't want to see going into the playoffs? I know you mentioned the Browns, but could it be them? I know right now the Steelers are struggling. Miami's a wild card. There's plenty of other teams that are on the fringes, but who's the team that you would least likely want to see in a playoff matchup?
Tennessee Titans. I thought last year they were going to go to the Super Bowl. I do not want to see the Tennessee Titans in the Super Bowl. I do not want to see Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill was playing. I mean, since he left the Miami Dolphins, he looked like a whole nother player. And with AJ Brown and some of those guys on the defensive side of the ball, man, I really think Tennessee is a good, solid team.
Merry Christmas, Mom.
And especially looking at this season, it's the first season in Las Vegas. When you heard the news that the Raiders were moving from Oakland to Las Vegas, pardon me, I probably mentioned Los Angeles because it's just so linked with the Raiders, I think Los Angeles, but Las Vegas, the move to Las Vegas from Oakland, what were your initial thoughts when you heard everything was going down, the stadium was getting built?
My first emotion was I never could imagine the Raider brand being outside of California. Like it was weird for me. When you think of California, you think about football, you think about the only team that ever brought that state a Super Bowl, and that was the Raiders. So I think California is the Raider brand. I think it's more fans in the state of California for the Raiders than it is for the Rams or the Chargers and things like that. But it was kind of weird for me. But at the same time, it was exciting, new beginnings. And, I couldn't wait to – it's a perfect reason for me to go to Vegas.
Now, when looking at your prediction for the Super Bowl, I know it's still early, but who do you see coming out of the AFC? Who do you see coming out of the NFC? And what's the final score?
Let's see. I would say I'm going to say the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to pick them again to come out of the AFC. And they'll go against – man, it's hard. I'm even thinking Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees. I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. They've been more consistent, I think. I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. And I think the Titans versus Packers, and it will be 38-31 Titans.
And it's interesting. You might be the first person or possibly the only person who didn't pick Kansas City to come out of the AFC. Everyone I've talked to believes it's going to be Kansas City, and a majority of people believe it's Green Bay.
I'm a true believer in the way you win games during the regular season all season long. The way you win games is the way you end up losing games in the postseason. And being as though they only lost one game, but they haven't been blowing out everybody. They've been playing in shootouts and things like that. And I just think their luck is going to run out once they get in the playoffs. And plus, I'm a Raiders fan, so a Raider fan will never pick the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
I always see the playoffs are always a crapshoot. Doesn't matter. Anytime in a short series, I'll say it's the equivalent of baseball. Short series, anything can happen. All it takes is one big thing to change the momentum, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, man. That's it. I mean, that's one thing about the playoffs. You never can predict, the playoffs, man. It's definitely you want to go home. It's not like the NBA. You lose and you got another chance to, redeem yourself.
On that note, I always think that really when it comes to all the four sports leagues, major sports leagues, the NBA is the one that's the most predictable.
Yeah.
Everything else is up in the air. Baseball is different. Hockey, an 8 pull-out can knock off a 1 fairly easy. And in the NFL playoffs, anything can happen. We've seen weirder things occur. I mean, the Giants beat Tom Brady twice, so
yeah,
anything's possible.
I mean, the thing about the NBA is all the great players want to play together. So it's less parity in the league. So it's only a few teams, that's going to make the finals. That's just my opinion.
And hey, I think a lot of people will probably agree with you as well. Kenny, do you have any what way can people reach out to you? I know you have a podcast as well, and I want you to be able to give that a shout out as well and tell people about it.
Yeah, Bar Drinks and Entrees is my podcast at Bar Drinks and Entrees like the hat. You can definitely check us out on we have a YouTube channel. You can just search us in the search bar YouTube. We're on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, Google, and all audio streaming platforms. But it's basically taking the concept of when you go to a bar and you sit down after a tough day or whatever, or just you just going to the bar and got a few drinks and you find yourself in good conversation with people you don't know. And that's the concept of the show. We bring people on our show. Me and my other co-host, James McCrae, we bring guests on. Some of them may know each other. Some of them may not know each other. But we do things, ice break things, and we talk about topics like, we'll talk about sports, or we'll talk about relationship, social issues, anything that comes up in the bar. And that's the whole concept of the show. But it's, we 21 shows in. Shout out last episode last week. But you can follow us at Bar Drinks and Entrees. Also, you can follow my personal account on Facebook, Kenny Brown, or Instagram at Kenny_B83.
I always have to ask, especially people who do podcasts, what was the toughest thing when it came to starting a podcast?
Getting started. The toughest thing. I talked about me and my co-host talked about starting this whole podcast for a year and a half, and we ain't done nothing. And then one of our good mutual friends sat us down and had a heart-to-heart with us, and we started to be about it more so than talking about it.
Yeah, and that's funny for me. When I started August of 2018, the biggest thing was I had already recorded 5 episodes starting in December of 2017. I never even touched them and looked at them at all until I got let go from got let go from my job. I had nothing else to do. Started doing a little bit of radio. It sort of got me out of the funk. And then I'm like, why not do this? Might as well. It's something I really like, radio and being able to talk to people. And that's what got me going. And I'll admit right now, the toughest thing is trying to produce everything, get everything done. Social media has been my biggest slacker moment, because sometimes I feel like doing it and you get motivated, like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. And then it's just, no, I'll do it later. I
mean, this is what we went to school for, Earl. Me, you the crew, we all went to school for journalism at UMBS. So this is definitely something we come on, man. This is a piece of cake for us, man.
Oh yeah. It's just social media. That's the thing. I'm sort of like, I'm freaking on it, but I just don't do enough just to promote.
Got to that's where the crowd go to. That's where everybody to. Some people go there before they turn the news on in our generation.
Oh yeah. I mean, I get it all the time. Yeah. But Kenny, I really do appreciate you being on here. Again, thank you so much for being a part of this, and we'll finish up this conversation off the air. Again, thank you guys for tuning into this live stream. We'll be back in about 42 minutes with another live stream. We're going to keep this going. It's the first of 3 here on the Sports Refuge live stream. Again, go to thesportsrefuge.com. Thanks a lot and keep on listening.